Introduction of SME. SME stand for Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise that maintain asset, revenue, and number of employees. Each country has their own definition perspective of SME. In Malaysia, there are three definitions from three institutions which are Bank Negara, LHDN, and Ministry of Human Resource. According to the definition of Bank Negara Malaysia, SME is divided into two sectors, which are manufacturing and service or other sectors. For manufacturing, sales turnover not exceed Rm 50 million and full-time employees not exceed 200 workers. Meanwhile, for service sector, sales turnover will not exceed Rm 20 million and full-time employee not exceed 75 workers. Second, the definition from LHDN of SME is resident company in Malaysia with paid-up capital of Rm 2.5 million or less, and any business that having paid-up capital more than 2.5 million will not related at all as SME, and annual sales turnover also not exceed Rm 5 million. The last definition of SME from Ministry of Human Resource is according to the number of employees they hire that includes foreign and expatriates, whereby for micro, not less than 75 workers, small is about 76 until 200 workers, and medium more than 200 workers. For overall, there are three main points in how to define SME, which are staff headcounts, paid-up capital, and annual sales turnover. SME plays the important role in economy for certain countries in any aspect. So the importance of SME are: first, create the job opportunity; second, contribute for the gross domestic product, which is overall economic growth; third, create the new creative and innovative ideas; and the last one is raise the name of certain countries' market on the world stage. What does SME do in contribute for the country? The contribution of SME in certain countries, we can look at the gross domestic product (GDP) and gross national product (GNP). For example, in Malaysia, according to the graph contribution of SME to Malaysia GDP for 2015 until 2020 at the constant 2015 price, SME contribute lots in GDP of Malaysia, whereby it increasing year to year with the average contribution which is 37.92%. So this means that SME contribute much than people ever think for the GDP and GNP for certain countries. Last, for make everyone understand what is SME, we can look at this example of SME company in Malaysia, which are: first, Bestari Sale and Marketing Sedia Berhad; second, Bintang Bulk Mover Sedia Berhad; third, CK Packaging and Plastic Industry Sedia Berhad; and the last one is DC Logistik Sendirian Berhad.
As we know, Malaysian SME, or known as small and medium-sized enterprise, lead to increase in access of financing after conducted domestic survey on this case. There are about 4 perceptions on financing by SME. Perception 1 is on SMEs provide financing. Based on SME Corporation Malaysia, 97% of SME were able to obtain financing, of which 27% were first-time borrower and 23% of them were without collateral. Besides that, only 10% or less of SME report difficulties with current financing facilities. This is mainly linked to delays on loan approval, requests for more grantors, and higher interest. However, financing is not the main reason why Malaysians refuse to support SME financing. As we can see from the graph given, top concerns of SME are non-financing related, which are high cost of doing business, ringgit depreciation, reduced domestic demand, low sales due to GST, and weak business sentiment. Even though there are still some Malaysians who are persists of SME financing, financing institutions state that SME have been improved during time. For example, SME financing continue to grow above 7%, rate of approval become higher, and lastly is financing institution share of SME continues to trend upwards by 49%.
Next, we go through the next perception, which is the second perception. The second perception is about SMEs financing apply. Based on the article, the process of applying for financing is often perceived by SMEs to be complicated and time-consuming. This might be due to a lack of understanding on how financial institutions analyze funding applications, as well as a lack of confidence in the document required to establish financial capacity and business viability. Under the partner program, which was launched in 2010, banks in Malaysia have streamlined and simplified the application procedure for SME financing. Systematic and standardized loan application forms and a checklist are offered to SME applicants, clearly stating the information and the documentation necessary to support the application. Bank reported that the process time for unsecured financing application under the partner program have been reduced to between 7 days for financing up to 500,000 and 16 days for financing above 500,000 from up to 7 days previously. The turnaround time for secured financing is depend on time it takes third parties such as lawyers to complete the security documentation procedure, and so may be longer. Audited accounts, income tax statement, and cash flow estimates are the most common paper required by FIs when conducting credit and viability evaluation. Alternative paper such as unaudited management, account and bank statement are accepted in place of conventional documentation by all the FI studies. As a further step to support SMEs in the financing process, there is some step in assisting SME with their finance which bank offers nationwide provide practical invitation, such as counseling to help SMEs enhance their financial capacity, knowledge and competence. For example, financial management and business planning, understanding the credit application requirements and process avenues for seeking assistance and punishment. Lastly, the reason for SME finance application being rejected is such as bad credit score and lack of credit history, limited collateral, poor evidence of strong cash flow, high debt utilization rate, and you're not asking for enough money, also incomplete application or paperwork.
Move to the third perception of access to financing SME, which is banks do not extend financing to startup. In reality, the financial institutions still provide financing across the spectrum of company, including company that's in the initial stage of business, which is startup, that in operation for 3 years or less. Why SME need financing from bank? This is because 40% of SMEs appropriate the obtained fund for investing in fixed assets. 35% of them use for the working capital, 22% for employing new workers and training, 20% for new product and service, 30% for the debt rollover, and 9% of SMEs use the fund in another way. As you can see from the chart, the rejection rate for startups to get their financing reported to be only marginally higher, which is at 21% of all SMEs. However, the rejection rate will depending on the period of the business. The longer period of the business, the less chance to get rejected from getting financing from bank, as has more solid operation and financing management. This is proven that the perception of banks do not extend financing to startup is incorrect.
So now, for the last perception, I'm going to present to you this topic, which is in a downturn, SME are the first to experience withdrawal of financing lines and or reduced credit limits. But don't worry, financially troubled SME are actively helped ahead of time by the FIs. Various special assistance, financing or loan facilities, restructuring facilities, and a 6 months moratorium on business, small and medium enterprise (SME) and individual have been provided for the help. The assistance provided would be able to maintain business operations of SME, protect their jobs, and encourage domestic investment. Since the Asian financial crisis, FIs have been demonstrably more forthcoming in providing debt restructuring and rescheduling R&R assistance to viable. The rescheduling or restructuring can help banks to reduce non-performing facility portfolios, introduce immediate write-back of specific provision, and maximize credit recovery as well. Rescheduling or restructuring also can help them to ease their cash flow, allow continuity in their business, and perhaps avoid any legal action. Rescheduling is the exercise refers to modification of financial or loan repayment terms whereby the principal terms and conditions of the financial or loan contract are not changed significantly. Rescheduling exercise normally only involve extending or lengthening the financial or loan. Tenure restructuring exercise refers to modification of principal terms and conditions of the financial or loan, which may include change in the type or structure of the financing or loan or other significant change to its terms. Meanwhile, restructuring is the exercise may involve restructuring or conversion of the type or nature of the financing or loan, such as overdraft to term financing or loan, or from revolving financing or loan into non-revolving financing or loan. This exercise is to enable the customer to improve their cash flow and overcome financial difficulties. As shown in the graph, 70% of total R&R by FIs have been used to help SME. Meanwhile, 97% have been helped directly from FIs and 3% were helped by Small Debt Resolution Scheme (SDRS). SDRS is a company who was established to provide assistance to small and medium enterprise (SME) facing business financing problems with financial institutions through restructuring or rescheduling of existing financing with bank negara regulated financial institutions. And lastly, 55% of R&R happened during the global financial crisis 2008 and 2009. The global financial crisis of 2008 and 2009 refers to the massive financial crisis the world faced from 2008 and 2009. The financial crisis took its toll on individuals and institutions around the globe, with millions of Americans being deeply impacted. Financial institutions started to sink. Many were absorbed by larger entities, and the US government was forced to offer bailouts to keep many institutions afloat. That's why many SME all around the world have been affected by this crisis.
In conclusion, for overall, some entrepreneurs that have started SME found that access to finance in SME is quite hard and challenging, but in reality, the process, procedures, and also the growth of SME is quite improving and also contributes something in the certain country's economy. Even though some perception of the finance is quite true, but it doesn't take all SME will live having the same situation. Despite that, the SME and other institutions that related should work together and provide more in finance in order to make SME growing in the future.
That's all from us. Thank you for watching. Any question can ask in the comment section.